Tips, innit?
We started
Yeah, practical tips
for living in a joint household.
Let go. So
You go or me go?
You go first.
So one of my practical tips. So we've said before. I think we've said before we are a rarity.
Yeah.
You know, we're a rarity. Where I'm telling you, I think out of our friend circle, is it just us two?
Yes, it is.
It is, isn't it?
Carrying that in-law flag.
Well, the ones that live in joint households, and then my sister, and then even out of the cousins or like my friends that I know.
I don't think I know.
My sister-in-laws, a lot of them don't. One does that I know of. Anyway, so we are a rarity more and more. It is more and more common now to leave the nest in it, do your own thing. First, we're going to talk about, aren't we, how we were when we first. So I got married 7 years ago, moved in, and we had a family scenario where our house and our family business, the shop, were 5 minutes away from each other.
Yeah.
And then because of, you know, family problems and bereavements, we've all moved in together, then moved out. So we've had a bit of hokey-cokey with our living situation.
Yeah.
Which messes with your brain a bit.
Yeah.
Because you get used to living by yourself. Yeah, exactly. Then you've got to adjust. Then you've got to live. And ours was very joint house. So we had the nanny, mum, you know, dad, everybody, you know, and so it is an above a shop. So anyway, all of these things add to the pressure cooker, don't they?
Yeah.
So above a shop is a different situation altogether. But in our house currently now, I think when we first moved in, I'd been brainwashed from a young age. Yeah. Just to be like, hanky. And my mum and dad are very old school, and they're very like, you ask your mum and dad there.
Yeah.
And then you ask us.
Okay.
And I remember my Phil was really cool, to be fair. You told me your Phil's really cool, innit?
Yeah.
And my dad would always go, he'd always go, like, I'd be like, Dad, I'm just going to go to Hull, but I'll be back at 10:05, and the train pulls it, and he goes, and my dad, luckily, like, one thing my dad asked is, does that boy have sisters?
Yeah.
And I went, he does.
Yeah.
And he goes, and that's all my dad asked.
Yeah.
And then, so I said this all to Dad in Sunderland, and Dad goes, what are you telling me for?
Yeah.
And I was like, but I meant to explain everything.
Yeah.
I meant to tell you, you know. And then he was like, what are you telling me for? See you later. Just tell me when you land by a train or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool.
That was an eye-opener.
Because my dad, minute by minute, wanted to know where we were.
Yeah.
So I was so used to this.
Yes.
He was like very overprotective.
Yeah.
So that's that. So I think when we first moved in, figuring out where my stuff goes, how the family works, and everyone's personality traits. I'm going to be honest, for me, my dad said this to me. It took me 2 years to understand who my mother-in-law is, that she was sarky and she had humour. I was like, shots fired! Humour. Figure her out, figure out my father-in-law, figure out my sister-in-law, figure out the dad. So it took me 2 years. How long did it take you to firstly figure out the mojo of the family?
I would say probably very similar. Like, maybe about 3-4 years, because I hated Newcastle first, and not because of where I was. Yeah, it was more the culture shock. Like going from being in an area where I was surrounded by brown people, my family were down the road, I had my friends, to then moving here, and it was just literally me, Ricky, and the family, and I was like, I don't know you people, like you know what I mean? Like everyone's a stranger.
It's really unfair. This is what I say. It's really unfair. It's like, here's your new mum and dad.
Yeah, exactly.
And your new family.
And the thing is, you know what? Like the way, so my dad was very overprotective as well, and it was very much like.
I saw your dad at Barney's farm, and he's so he is you in it. You do really look like.
But even he was very much like, so we were quite used to that.
Explain yourself.
But also, when I was a bit of a rebel as well, so I was very much like, I ain't gonna ask for my permission. You know what I mean? I'm gonna come and do what I'm gonna do. But like, I was very shocked in the fact that like Ricky's mum and dad were very like chill. They were just they were modern. I was like, you could be his brother, you could be his puppy. It was just so even when,
your mother-in-law's very chill.
Very chill.
Very
and
nice.
So I was expecting the whole handy Gigi. Obviously you've got grandma. Grandma, you know, even grandma's like got a funky side to her. Like even she's like a bit of a character. But like,
you know, on Anisha's TikTok, she cracks on, didn't she? Bless her, yeah, that's really
so
good.
Even for me, it took me 3 years just to really like accept the fact that I was living here and
get
accept people.
Yeah.
And then from then, that's when I started to develop relationships and grow. And like, I'm 10 years in this year. I'm 10 years
You've
in.
got plenty of experience to talk.
And post Barney
10 years
as well. Post
in-laws.
In-laws,
wow.
yeah. And even at that time, people were like, what? You can live with them? What? You're not buying a house? Like, it was almost like they were judging me for living with the family. And it's like, that's going to work for us kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's the biggest thing for us is making sure that you are your own person. So you start as you mean to go on.
It's really hard to do that, but yeah.
So someone once told me, don't do the whole hanji. Start as you mean to go on, because if this is going to be your family, then treat them like your family.
treat him like your family.
And even you know what, Mill is really good because she even said, like, you know what, like, I'm not your mother-in-law. She hates the word mother-in-law. Like, she hates it. We don't use in-law as a word. It's like, I'm your mum. Like, I'm not your mum, but I'm your mum. Like, how Nisha is to me, that's how you are to me.
Which is really, really nice.
You know, since day one to this day, she has been consistent. She has been the same. So it's been really easy for me to develop a relationship with her.
Which is really cool. You haven't got an old school sauce.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you wouldn't have survived, I wouldn't have.
No, but exactly. But that's why we're able to live in these households, because you know what?
Like your pangla, in a certain households, you doing your giddan, your pangla.
Yeah, exactly.
You know the comments you would have got, and that would not have flown with you, because you would have just ended up having because that's not your spirit.
If my mum and dad haven't stopped me, who are you? Do you know what I mean?
But yours recorded.
They were like my cheerleaders.
Yeah, that's cute, man.
They were like, oh my god, like yes, you're doing this and you're doing videos and
I know. So you're like,
literally. But they're really supportive. I think making sure you're yourself in terms of being able to communicate. And at first it might be a little bit like tricky to be like, oh my god, like I'm gonna ask for this, I'm gonna do this. But it is really important to start as you mean to go on. One thing I never did, I never asked for permission either. Really it was like, I'm going, I've
only learned that.
I'm going, And don't get me wrong, like, you know, I did have certain comments where it was like, oh, you're going back to Warsaw to see your mum again. You're going back to your mum's. I was like, yeah, that's my mum. Like,
but I remember your father-in-law, you saying to me, you were like, you feel was like, crack on.
At 100%, he's always been like that. He's like, you do you, girl. You do you. Like,
because he's got a daughter again, innit?
Exactly.
It's the difference, isn't it? It makes such a massive difference.
Does.
Like this dad, I got really lucky. He was a literal another dad.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's very like, and
it's
my mother-in-law,
isn't it?
Home from home.
Yeah.
And I think because we're daddy's girls, we look for that. Like I would have really struggled if my Phil wasn't how he was.
Yeah.
And my mother-in-law, I thought first,
she's
gonna be old school. Yeah. Because she shots fired, right?
Yeah.
But it took me ages to realise she does that the same. I told you that when I got married, I had a mini Gaddi.
Yeah.
And obviously it was 3-door in it.
Yeah.
And then she's got really bad knees.
Okay.
I didn't know that at the time, innit? I was just like, oh, mum needs a lift. I'll give her a lift.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And she was like, something along the words. She said something. She was like, and she was like, what did she say to me? She was just like, and I was like, oh my god, why would she say that? Because I spent, my mini was my little pride and joy, my first bit of earning, innit?
Yeah.
And then Sunny got a brand new Merc, sportsy, again 3-door, innit? And then it'd been a few weeks since his comment hat, and she goes, I've told you before, these tutty ass gaddiyan, because she had to again move the chair forward to get out. So she gave him the same comment that she gave me.
And that's when you were like,
and I went, his gaddi's there, my gaddi's there. She just has an issue with her knees. But it took me time, innit? I was just like, I thought she's just being nasty to me.
But that's the thing, it's understanding the character, isn't it?
It took me a while. And she literally, if she's going to give one person shit, she gives you all of it shit. And she'll be like, all of you. And especially, Sunny probably gets much, because both of you come here.
Yeah.
So if you had Brawny come into the house, why did you two go out? And she'll pull us both up and be like, because we'd already
But that's good.
She pulls it. I'm never singled out. No.
100%, because
that's good. Because I'm like, I'm really, because I don't know, you just thought, I don't know if it's the drama we watched when we were growing up, but you know, you get brainwashed thinking you're going to be.
Like, Granny in the house can be a little bit like that. Yeah. And can be a little bit old school, and
there always will be
a generation, and can be like, oh my god, Ricky tu na pande to Mandeep ki kar diya. Do you know what I mean? That can happen.
But as long as, like, I always think if they're willing to accept change, like if I sit my mother-in-law down and I says, Mom,
the difference is,
and I was like, this is the crack, and I went, this is the reason I need it to be like this, 50-50, whether it's workload or household. She goes, okay, whatever works for you too.
That's it.
And if she didn't,
but that's the difference, isn't it? And the difference is, I can pull Granny up and be like, why did you say that comment for? I wasn't happy with that. Like, I've done it. I wasn't happy with that. And then she laughs and she giggles and she's like,
but then it's done, innit?
But then it's done. Being able to
be straightforward.
Be straightforward, and if you've got an issue, go to that person and be like, this, I wasn't happy with this. I've been able to do that with Dad, with Granny. I've not had to do it with Mill, to be honest, pretty sound at the moment. So I think that is important. The other thing we said is having, like, for us, we've got a TV in our bedroom, whether people agree with it or not, that is almost our living space.
Absolutely.
So we have bedroom, TV, and our own ensuite.
You need it.
And do you know what? That's our little private
because
space.
if you've got tea on the radiator, you don't need no one to see that shit, do you? This is absolutely right. You need it. I know it's like a bit of a you know, freaking, what's it called? First world problem, innit?
Yeah.
But like, it's like, we've like I said, we've coming on top of shops. We had one bathroom, blah, blah, blah. Same stories, everybody.
Yeah.
So having that is a gift.
Your own space.
But we had that. We've got, my mother-in-law even said, she goes, I've got no shock, you know. She was just like, to live with you guys, yeah. And she was like, so we're going to do it this way. So she said it. She even gave me an idea about 2 semi-detached houses together.
Okay, right.
Which was really like, before, bless her, she had her stroke. That was going to be, we were going to be next door neighbours.
Yeah.
She literally, she had them ideas, not me. She goes, I don't want to. She goes, don't worry, I don't want to rely on any of you.
Yeah.
She's very independent. Yeah. And now we have 2 living rooms.
Yeah.
She cracks on with her drama, we do. So there's 2 spaces and 2 agendas. Everyone's got a key. Nobody asks each other, which was another tip, I guess. We just said, Mum, you know, I'm off to see my mate Mandy. That's fine, I'm off to see a chachi.
That's
cool.
It's
as long as you've got your phone and you're alive and you tell them.
As long as you tell them. I think that is important. As long as you tell them. That's it. That's a respect thing.
Yeah.
You know, and the perks of living at home. I get dal sabia made for me. I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
You know, food made for like.
No one doesn't talk about that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like we have, and that's the beauty. Like
you say with Bonnie, even you're working now. You got Bonnie even to say, Mum. Yeah. Like on a night time, like, Mum, just paratha bana diyo, please.
That's it.
That's all I say, and then I come back, it's done. Almost dal or whatever these girls eat. And it's like you say, we don't do turkey. I don't know when you last did. I don't think I've done one since being married.
Well, like, and I try and do it just so I don't forget how to cook.
I do it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but vice versa. You know, if I'm making like pasta or something like that, I'll make it for everybody. You know, it's give and take, isn't it?
It's like give and take. But we said before, as long as you carve out your space with your partner. Yeah. What do people cry about? Carve it out with your partner. Carve it out with Bonnie. Your little threesome, which you said that you went to Edinburgh for one day.
Yeah.
Carve that time out. Have your 2 living spaces.
Yeah.
Have a clear communication. And if you're truly going to treat each other direct, you know, like daughters and mothers.
Yeah.
What I do sometimes, if my mother-in-law says something, I might
you'll question it.
And then I'm like, what would I say if my mum said to me?
Yeah.
And then I sit back down.
That's it. It's got to come from you as well. And I'll be honest, for me, it took me a long time to be like, this is my family. I was very much like, my mum and dad, nah. But actually, no, it's such a beauty having 2 sets of families. And it's so nice when even they get together because they've got a lovely relationship as well.
But man, do you know what? I'm sure this isn't cocky from your end either, but you know when you sit there and you're like, and I say this, touch wood. What they think about me behind my back, I don't know. But I think touch wood, if I called either side tomorrow, I have a good enough relationship with everybody would turn up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because we've put the effort into. Yeah. They have too, 100%. Yeah. But it's been a 2-way. It's not
two-way street.
Yeah, like you say with Anisha, you got a sister and a sister-in-law. Yeah. I've got the same with my sister-in-laws, but like very protective. They won't let anyone say shit. But like it's a 2-way. But I do the same.
Exactly.
On my best. So also give your best.
You know.
But also like you said, the other thing is, think if my dad said that to me, would it piss me off?
Yeah. Exactly.
If it wouldn't, then shut up and take it.
Exactly.
Because you have to be reality. Because if you're barking back at just, is it a fair comment? If it's not, like you clearly communicate.
The thing that I did a lot of, speak to Ricky, be like,
Ricky,
I'm pissed off about this. Like, this is what was said, and then he'll be like, "Come on, man!" Like she said,
that's it. We forgot this. The filter.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes the soundboard and being like, "Am I being
that's so
OTT
true?
Sensitive here, or actually, is there something in it?"
Yeah.
And this majority of the time, it's like, "Man, this is how it is," and I'll be like, "Okay, I got it."
Yeah, that's massive though.
Yeah.
Even like Sunny says to me about my mum and dad, he goes, this said, and I went, "Oh, they didn't mean it like that. This is what I mean." Because my dad's very. What's weird, my dad is the male version of my mother-in-law. Yeah. So they're so weirdly the same. So I'm so used to. Yeah. It's really weird. And my father-in-law and my mum are the same. Mm-hmm. Really kind and chilled.
They mirror each other.
Yeah, and the other 2 are harsh, like Sakis, like you know, like, and you're like, so like I'm very like even Sunny when I got married, he was like, "I'm really sorry about this. My mum's really sarcastic," and I was so used to it with my dad. Mm-hmm. It just is what it is, isn't it? It's weird how it works out. But yeah, so that's our thing: open communication, living spaces, going out, being honest, start as you mean to go on, and then treat them as equally as you can. And God willing, everybody has that relationship, and there's not a toxic. Living space, because that doesn't work for anybody.
For us as well, I think you'll find the same. Is holidays are your own. They're almost like your own little living, like out. You know how getting your own time with just your little family. We've been so fortunate. We've been able to do holidays, and we've been able to do 2-3 holidays a year because we live at home. And that's our own time to get away. And we come back and it's nice to come to a full household.
And if it works for you, it works for you. Brilliant. Like sometimes I do think, I was like, if I live by myself, but then I'm such a frigging FOMO person that I want to be where the Ronak's at, and I'm like, what's going on there? Like, you know what I mean? So like, exactly. You've got to be real, and then exactly. Like you say, take the plus points. Negatives are in every situation. Whatever your situation is, why you're living together, I don't know. So whatever the situation is, take, because if you focus on the negatives, you're done for.
100%.
Absolutely done for, and you turn into that black hole, and ain't no coming out of that black hole.
One of our close friends, Jasny, she gave me some really good advice very recently, because I had a bit of a situation where I was just like, oh my god, this has really annoyed me, and she was like, how you need to look at it is, this person loves you.
Yeah.
They have reacted and said something that is probably just out of anger or just out of like whatever. They've reacted, said something, but there's no substance to it. Yeah. Just remember that person loves you.
Yeah.
And I think that mentality I've had to adopt a lot more as well, because otherwise it is like,
no. Your automatic is but it is, that's what I'm saying, it's really hard, and there is a skill, and we're still figuring it out, man.
Absolutely,
we're still figuring it out, and we're still messing it up every single time. And the only reason, like, my reality recently is my brother's 27, and I'm like, do you know what, more and more I've had to lose my attitude, because I'm like,
exactly.
And I can't, and how would I expect her to treat my mother-in-law? Would I expect my brother to leave my mum for dust if it was the same situation that I've got in my household at the minute? I wouldn't actually. I'd expect my brother to support his mum, and hopefully the wife to give some support too. It's a lot, and and it is a lot, but so now I've started very much doing the 360 thinking. Do you know what I mean? You would expect, you'd expect exactly. And that's, I agree. That's what a lot of the times I'm like, okay, stop. You know, that's what dictates a lot of my actions. And hopefully karma's not hopefully karma means that I do get some payment for that at some point. Someone looks after my mum and dad, but like anyway, that's that then, isn't it?
Well, do you know what?
It's
been a good day. Let's get back to the house.
No, I didn't think